everyone. Welcome back to the Hollywood Persona Podcast. My name is Mitch, and that is Ant.
Hello.
It feels like it's been a while again, but we're here.
It hasn't really, yeah. I know, it does feel like that, but...
The Oscars, the Oscars were last weekend. You didn't watch along,
No,
live.
I watched them after, and I did that, well, a couple of reasons, but really the advantage, I just, I turned it on and hit pause because I wanted to fast forward through all the effing ads. I can't stand the ads.
And you were there, you went and saw Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I did,
How was that?
Yeah. Amazing, man. I've seen him once before.
Yeah.
I like to tell people that I have read and listened to everything he's ever said, which is, that's a stretch, but I am really a huge fan of his and have read and watched. He even has like 2 lecture series with the Great Courses, which are 12 episodes each.
Oh, yeah.
And they're great. They're great. He's just he's so good at taking, everyone knows this, complicated science stuff and breaking it down for layman's. And he's so excited about it, so it's fun to listen to him.
I love him when he's up against somebody who is trying to question his views and stuff, because he doesn't try to make them feel stupid or you know what I mean? He likes to have that conversation it's almost like a father figure, trying to be
the bigger man type thing.
Okay, but what if, I love him.
Yeah, agreed. That's a great point. He doesn't really do debates much anymore, but his stuff is all over TikTok, YouTube, and little clips, sound bites. I used to listen to the podcast religiously, but I kind of feel like I've heard everything he said. So I kind of now check in every couple months when, if there's new science that he then communicates. But he was great. I'd recommend it. It was about $80 USD, and it was amazing. It was amazing. It was totally worth it. And I will see him again. That was my second time seeing him. Yeah. Forgot about that.
This episode we're gonna review Stopmotion. It's a new horror movie that just dropped on VOD. Ant saw it in theaters. I just watched it on VOD. And we're also going to talk about Drive Away Dolls, which also hit VOD. I have not been going to the theaters a lot because I've been trying to catch up on the Oscar movies, but now that is done, so I will be going more regularly. And
no, don't feel the pressure. I want to say this to you and everyone listening. Whenever someone asks me about the show, you do a podcast, blah blah blah, I will say that I say loosely. Actually, no, I like your haircut, by the way.
Thank you.
I will say that I will try and see everything that comes out in theaters. My co-host Mitch sees a lot of the stuff that comes onto streaming.
Yeah.
And I'm and that's what makes us do well, is we cover a lot that way. So, for at least for this program, I'm never gonna say go to the movies more.
Yeah. Well, hey,
you watch way more at home.
Went to the theater to see Kung Fu Panda 4. So
that's right.
I took the kids. I'll just say quickly at the top, it is just very meh. It is it's fine. It's kind of blah. It's whatever. So
yeah, fourth animated sequel.
Yeah,
it could have been worse. It could have been way worse, I bet.
We're also going to mention Damsel, which is the new Netflix movie starring Millie Bobby Brown, which you can watch right now, and Imaginary, the new Blumhouse, I think.
Yep.
Horror movie about a teddy bear and Ant's going to talk about that because he saw it in theaters and you can catch it. But why don't you talk about our new patron?
Yes, my mom joined as a patron. Isn't that so sweet and kind of her?
Thank you.
If you hear this, thanks, Mom. Love you. And
so we have our Patreon. The link is down below. Thank you, Ant's mom.
If you want to support, you can, but no pressure to do it. It is just there for the few of those that have asked for it, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
What's her first name?
Jody.
Thanks, Jody. You're the best. Jody Foster. Is Jody Foster your mom? Someone told me.
I wish.
So we're going to talk Oscar-winning winners quickly, just because it's been a little over a week now.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to quickly say some of the big hitters. Cillian Murphy obviously won Best Actor. Oppenheimer won Best Picture. Emma Stone, Best Actress. The Boy and the Heron won Best Animated Feature. The Zone of Interest, Best International. Christopher Nolan, Best Director. Divine Joy Randolph won Best Supporting Actress. Robert Downey Jr., Best Supporting Actor. 20 Days in Mariupol, Best Documentary. And then Oppenheimer, Godzilla -1 won Best Visual Effects, which is cool.
Yep, that was cool to see.
Yeah, Poor Things won a lot more than I thought it would.
Me too, and I was happy to see that. I loved Emma Stone's speech. I liked the presentation format. You know how they had the different actors come out and speak about them?
Yeah.
I like that. I thought that was cool.
They've done something like that in the past. I can't remember what year it was, and I didn't like it. But this year, it worked the way they did it. And
talking about exactly. For most of it, and then it's cool. Yeah, have them look in the. I think
Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I think for me, the big surprises were Emma Stone. I think that one surprised some people. She if you had asked anybody 2 months ago, Lily Gladstone had it in the bag. Right, and now she made Emma Stone made a huge push at the end, and all of a sudden everybody, which is great. Her performance was great.
Definitely.
Actually, and she was kind of saying today how she was surprised and almost didn't really want to win, because she thought Gladstone, deserved it, and so even if you look back and you see her reaction, she's kind of almost shit, I won. But she's such a great person, so...
Yep, agreed. I was happy to see it, and I was... I think we talked about that category beforehand. Both of them were great. If... It's just... comparing movies to make winners is just silly. It's art.
Yep.
But so whatever. But, I think... Oh, that's what I was going to say. Her performance... Even though she was competing with Lily Gladstone, the category didn't really fit. She's a lead, right?
Yeah.
She really is the lead of that movie. She is the lead of that movie.
She is Lily the movie. Gladstone, she's the whole...
she's the whole thing, Emma Stone. Whereas Lily Gladstone truly is a supporting character.
Yeah.
Leo is the lead. And so that's another thing where it's they always futz with the category. But anyway, I think being nominated is just as good. Because you're now a nominee. So
especially, and that's her her first kind of big role, her first nomination. She Gladstone,
yes.
She could have a big
definitely.
She could have a big career still, right?
Absolutely, and she totally should, because she was really good in that movie.
Yeah, she was.
It was great to see Divine Joy Randolph's speech. So sweet. You just love seeing those type of wins.
Downey Jr.'s speech, I think, brought the house down, kind of.
Excellent.
I almost thought he had won before, but he's only been nominated, which
yes, so. And what'd you make of Al Pacino, with his weird Best Picture and that
that was so
bizarre.
Awkward.
Just bizarre.
I watched it with my mom and a couple people, and my mom said well, we've seen all the nominees all night, so I kind of get why he did it, but the way he did it was just so awkward. It was
exactly I can't call it bad or good. It's just weird. Awkward.
Yeah, it was just very awkward. You might as well have put him in slippers and pajamas and just had him shuffle out, read the award,
someone and then push him.
Yeah, roll him back into bed. He just looked like it was funny, but
and he's a legend, so whatever.
I don't really want to get into this, but Jonathan Glazer is getting some heat.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you mentioned this
speech. I haven't looked into it too much, so I'm not going to really comment on it. I don't know if you have.
So I saw his speech. And because I moderate the Big Picture subreddit, someone has posted it there. Apparently there is 45 people or 450, some amount of people have signed some letter saying
over
they disagree.
1,000 now as of yesterday.
So of course, you and I, there's no need for us to get into an Israel-Palestine or any war type discussion. All I want to say is, I thought his speech was kind and he meant well. He seemed to
Yeah.
mean well.
It was I
that was my take.
unfortunately I think it was kind of one of those speeches that I didn't listen to. I was probably going to the bathroom or something because I'm an old man with a weak bladder. But I should go back and listen to it and
yeah, he really to me I listened to it again, not recently, but right as soon as like the controversy popped, I'm like, did I miss something? He's just like he's saying basically what you and I would say, was just like, please, let's stop the war, people, stop killing, like, let's do something, he's so to me it's a nothing. This is another one of those, like, it's big on Twitter and people are arguing about it, and in 2 days they will move on to something else.
Well, I'm not going to stop seeing Jonathan Glazer movies because he makes incredible movies. Right? So, the one thing I was going to say earlier when we were off air, but I thought I'd save it for here. Did you watch the In Memoriam segment?
No, I guess I missed that.
So it was Andre Bocelli singing with his son. You know who Andre Bocelli is?
Nope.
So he's like the big voice, like operatic voice, and he's blind. He's blind.
Okay.
Well, anyway, so he sang, and then Hans Zimmer did the recording, and it's on Spotify. You should give it a listen. It's probably not even like anyone's style, but it like Andre Bocelli's voice, and then you have like in the middle, like it cuts out, and it's just Hans Zimmer's score coming in.
Cool.
And it's just like it's almost as like it it gives you chills. It's almost like the Star Wars like thing. It was really cool.
All right, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, just listen to it on Spotify. Listen to the whole thing, because like near the end you hear Hans Zimmer just come in and you're like, holy shit, he's incredible.
Speaking of Hans Zimmer, for those listening, you guys might live near where he's coming. He is coming and doing a tour here, and he's coming to Atlanta. A guy I work with told me about it today. Thank God he told me about it.
Yeah.
So he and I, he's a semi-big movie fan. So he's like, I'll promise to tell you when it goes on sale. So I'm absolutely gonna go.
Yeah, I have a friend who just posted about it today and said he's for sure gonna go. But for the second year in a row, the Oscars have done this thing, which really annoys me. They have Andre Bocelli singing, and they have the In Memoriam screen, right? And they have fucking people dancing in front of the screen, and it's like,
yeah. It's kind of,
they did this last year.
Disrespectful. I do remember that last year.
The only reason I can think is why they do it is because it's more interesting for the people that are there.
There, right? In person, yeah.
But we're just where we want to hear the song and see who passed away and like respect them and stuff. And it's people die every day, but it's like, okay, we've lost these talents. And my mom and I morbidly look forward to that segment every year, and but this year it was like the camera was pulled way back, so some of the people that came up on the screen you didn't even know, like, who's that? Oh, we missed that. Who, so I don't know. It was weird, but
yeah, that sucks. They seems like they always fumble that, or let me say it this way. Seems like people always have a problem with the In Memoriam to some degree. They either forget somebody or they do like this. So yeah,
because every year there's a different producer for the Oscars, right? It's
Soderbergh did it once, or
like it's some crazy directors have really done it, and there's different directors, and a lot of the times, like, it's weird to see, but the Academy Awards wins an Emmy, right? Because
for the production of the show,
nominated. So I don't know, it's really interesting, but we that's the Oscars.
Okay,
good times. Kinds of Kindness. This is gonna be the new Yorgos Lanthimos film.
Tell me about this.
So Emma Stone and Willem Dafoe are back, and he like literally kind of just dropped it. It's gonna be in theaters June 21st.
This June.
Can you double check that? Well,
I'll check it.
I could be right. I have it down wrong.
Sorry. No, you're good. But that cast sounds insane.
Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, Willem Dafoe, Margaret Qualley, Hong Chow, who we haven't seen in a bit, but she was huge last year. Joe Alwyn, Mamadou Athie, and Hunter Schafer. But like, I don't know. It kind of I
that came out
swear
of nowhere. 2024. You're right. That's coming this year.
So June 21st this year, we're getting another Yorgos one.
Oh, that
because
is so exciting.
I don't know if you remember, but like a few episodes ago, we were talking about he announced his next movie.
Yes.
But it's like it was like his next movie that he's working on. Kinds of Kindness is like done.
It must be done if it's coming out in 4 months. Yeah.
So
that is awesome.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of Yorgos to look forward to.
Yep. Cool. That's great news. I didn't know about that until right now. That's awesome.
You can now get, which I've got to pick up the first two, but you can now get The Abyss, Aliens, and True Lies are all just released on 4K.
Yep.
So,
and you see that poster over my shoulder when I went to see The Abyss when they re-released it. On the back of that poster list, actually, I have one for you. I've been looking. Hold on. Let me hold that thought. On the back of that poster they gave out when I went to see The Abyss, they listed the release dates for these. I knew they were coming. And I heard one critic that I listened to say the Abyss one is excellent, and he loved it.
That's the one I want the most. I mean, I have like 4 copies of Aliens in different varieties on DVD, on Blu-ray, on 4, whatever. But The Abyss is the one I really want, and because James Cameron has been like True Lies has only been released on DVD. It hasn't been so that was like a big thing. And people have kind of always said like, come on, like when are we going to get a 4K of this or like a Blu-ray of this? And so finally he took the plunge. So you can go out, they're at Walmart, go buy them.
Nice.
They're going fast apparently. I've seen some on like eBay and stuff for like $40-$50.
Damn.
So the sequel, this has been the big news this week. The sequel to 2022's Matt Reeves directed The Batman has been pushed from late 2025 to October 2026. But obviously, there's been the strike and everything. So, but that's a big push.
It's a huge push because we're already more than a year away from it now. So they must have to do reshoots or something.
And a lot of people are speculating because James Gunn is doing his DC thing. So now this is going to come out like with some distance from that, like James Gunn is going to have like his like Superman, and then I think there might be something else coming out before this Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, but this Batman, the Batman is different. It's not in the DC universe, and
it was independent.
So who cares?
And not only for that reason, but that made it good.
Yeah,
it was awesome. That the Batman was excellent.
Exactly.
So that sucks. That's a huge delay.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, 2 years from now, that might as well be when we're both 80 years old.
Yeah. So Scream 7, which has gone through some development turmoil. Yeah. You and I have talked about this a lot.
Yeah. Yep. This is interesting to see.
Yeah, so in the last year, actually, I think you and I kind of predicted this, but
I was going to say, one of us called
One of us did.
One of us called this.
So in the last year, after the firing of Scream 7's, oh my gosh, I have this. After firing the star of the past 2 films, Melissa Barrera, over, talks about the war in Israel.
Speaking of.
Yeah. And the departure of star Jenna Ortega and director Christopher Landon, they all left. Seems to be the movie is now getting back on track because Neve Campbell, who has starred in every single Scream movie aside from the last one due to a pay dispute, is coming back. And a new director has signed on as well. He himself is Scream royalty. He wrote Scream 1, 2, and 4. And he's been a producer on all the films. So this is what do
you think?
I mean, at this point, we're 7 movies in. I doubt he's going to have a lot of pull and push. Hopefully he does a good job. But yeah, I'm happy to see Neve Campbell back. I like her.
Me too.
I'm a huge fan of the Scream franchise. But
I'm going to be skeptical of this.
Mm-hmm.
They had a great thing going. They really did. We talked about this before.
Yeah.
When the news broke.
1 million times. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just set up to be a nice trilogy with Ortega, Barrera. They were doing just fine. The story was progressing. now it's just blown up. So
we'll see.
We'll see
how it goes.
Yeah.
So the title for Venom 3 has been revealed as Venom: The Last Dance, which will be out October 25th. People are already making fun of it because that's what the most recent Magic Mike title was.
Oh,
Magic
that's
Mike,
right. I was
Last
thinking of
Dance.
the basketball one. I was thinking of the Michael Jordan, The Last Dance.
Oh,
Netflix?
okay.
Did you see that? That was really good.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
So this is obviously hinting like this Tom Hardy is probably not gonna do anymore. I think he's said as much. So The Last Dance, I mean, who knows what'll happen. But anyways, and then a new trailer has dropped for Inside Out 2, which introduces new emotions, envy, embarrassment, and ennui. I used to know how to say this. Ennui. Which means
don't recognize it.
I don't know why they would do this, but it means a feeling of weariness and dissatisfaction or boredom.
So I just came from the theater.
Ennui.
I just saw the trailer. Oh, ennui. Okay. Yeah, that's it.
Ennui,
I just saw this trailer, and the emotion I remember seeing being introduced is anxiety. One of the emotions goes, a new emotion, and she walks in and she's like, oh, hi, I'm anxiety, and then they joke about what is that, so it's funny that this isn't in the news blurb because at least in the trailer they mentioned anxiety.
I think because these are the new, I wrote this because these are the new emotions. We already knew anxiety was going to be one of them.
Got it.
If you'd seen other trailers, so I should have, yeah.
That's okay.
I could have that wrong. Anyways, and then a trailer for the remake of The Crow, starring Bill Skarsgård, which will be in theaters June 7th, 2024. So a new trailer for that has dropped.
I saw it. Yep, looks
there's
okay.
A lot of people who love the original and like,
I know. I'm not one of them.
I've never seen it, but I will. I will.
Yeah, when the new one comes out, let's both watch it. And do it. All right. Keep going.
And then the last thing, the makers of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 1 and 2, which is coming out this year, they're at work on another twisted take on A. Milne's children's story.
Boo.
Ant is so excited to hear this. The prolific low-budget genre labels Jaded Edge Productions and ITN Films, huge names that we all know. What did I say?
Jaded.
Oh, sorry. Have unveiled plans to swing they're going to start a new Poohniverse. Poohniverse. Monsters Assemble. So basically they're taking all the characters that are in the public domain. So such as Pooh, Tigger, Rabbit, Owl, Piglet, Pinocchio, Sleeping Beauty, Bambi, the Mad Hatter, Peter Pan, and Tinkerbell are basically all going to join up in a new horror movie. That'll probably be awful.
I'm all about second chances, so maybe they will actually make something decent here instead of... Because the reason I have such a big problem and hate that first one so much is because it's so obviously we got to get a movie out right now to cash in on this going. We got to be the first one. It's every movie, everything is business related. It's show business, not show friends. So I know money is a motivator, but usually you pull in creatives who have ideas to make something interesting. Mm-hmm. This was a very, very blatantly obvious, just put some horror masks on, swing an axe, call it Poohniverse. So maybe they'll redeem themselves. Yeah, it was stupid.
So tell us about the box office,
sir. All right, let's get to the box office, and then we will get to movie reviews. So Dune 2 continues to do well, although it was not in first place. Just barely, though. It's really neck and neck. It is crazy. It's really crazy. That's such a good sign. It's such a good sign for Dune. So Kung Fu Panda 4 took the top spot with $30 million in its second weekend. But yeah, right behind it's Dune 2 at 29.1, so $900,000 difference in when we're talking hundreds of millions. Yeah, that's really not much. So Dune Part 2 is second place. Right behind that is Arthur the King, that new Mark Wahlberg dog movie, which I just got home from. It came in at 7.5 million, which is not great because it was projected to do 10 to 15. So low expectations. I think it's because of a couple reasons. One, the last 3 Mark Wahlberg movies I can remember were streaming. So if you start, if you make yourself streaming, people see you as, I'll wait for streaming. I think there's a little to that. He did Infinite, which was not good. He did Father Stew. Well, that was a theater one. But then he also just did, The Family Plan on Apple Plus. And that was dumb, really dumb family comedy. It's inoffensive, but it's not good. So I think, you see Mark Wahlberg and a dog, and the normal person would see that and say, oh, I'll catch that on streaming. Like I said, I just saw it. It's totally fine. We're not going to review it. It's just a lovely dog movie. It's a good reminder to use the resource doesthedogdie.com. If you have any triggers and you don't like to see stuff on screen, go check that site first, and it'll tell you if something horrible that you don't want to see happens. So go check it for that movie. In 4th place, Imaginary, which I'm going to review briefly, with 5.6 in its second week. It's a pretty good hold. It only fell 43%. So while its opening wasn't that good, still a decent hold. It's a Blumhouse movie. They cost nothing to make, so it will do just fine. And then in 5th place was Cabrini, that Angel Studios Sound of Freedom follow-up. Could not do the same thing that Sound of Freedom did. It only made $2.8 million. It dropped 60%, which is kind of what I thought Imaginary was going to drop. A lot of times horror has big drops like that, but not great. And they're still doing that pay it forward thing. At the end of the movie Cabrini, there's this thing that says, buy a ticket for someone who can't afford it. If people are stupid enough to do that, no.
Okay.
I didn't. I'm not going to see it. I'm not going to see it. But if people are dumb enough to, or whatever, people can do whatever they want with their money. They can donate it to us, which I think is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the box office. Kung Fu Panda, Dune, Arthur the King, Imaginary, and Cabrini in at number 5. Let me mention number 6, Love Lies Bleeding. It's rolling out. It was a platform release, so it started small. Maybe New York, LA, Chicago, and now it's growing. It gained like 1,300 theaters, and it's hopefully going to continue to climb and do well in the art house market. It made 2.4 million, and we are going to eventually review it. I really liked it, so I can't wait for you to see it. And listeners, go check it out if you haven't. If you need something, but I wouldn't go with your mom or younger brother. It definitely has sex in it. But it's not gratuitous. It's done very well and realistic. It's great. It's really good. So that is the box office.
I'm going to add a couple things to your box office because one, Arthur the King is the bomb pick you gave me. I don't know if you realized that.
That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot.
So it is, and the budget on that was $19 million. So I doubt it'll go, make that back. But Cabrini is the other movie I took because
that's right. You
stupid 47 Days with Jesus. Well, I'm a fucking idiot because guess what the budget on that movie is? Take a guess.
I don't know, 4 million, 5 million?
$50 million.
No way.
For Cabrini. Yeah.
Oh, they are hurting. Its total gross right now is 13 million after its second week, and it took a 60% dive. So next week, take that number, 2.8 million they made, and cut it in half again. Oh yeah, damn! It cost $50 million.
I know. Love Lies Bleeding. I don't have a budget for that. They haven't released what the budget was. So I have 4 movies in the red. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movies in the red. But you as when Dune came out, you smoked me. You are way into first place. $430 million you have made. My studio has made $269 million.
But you have Ghostbusters coming up, don't you?
Nope, you have Ghostbusters.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So
that one. Well, we'll talk about it when we get to what's coming.
Okay. So let's get into reviews then. Let's talk Stop Motion first because it's the one I saw most recently, and I'm excited to talk about that. Do you want to give the plot synopsis?
Yeah. Yeah, let me set this up because there was a funny coincidence with it between us and the podcast. So Stop Motion, I got to see in theaters. It came out quietly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like this happens all the time, and I know listeners, you probably feel this too, where you're like, where was the marketing? Why didn't I know about this?
But it built kind of among horror fans, right? Like I noticed,
yes, exactly. Kind of like when Evil Lurks did, like that was in theaters, right. And all of a sudden people are like, oh, you got to see this. So Stop Motion, it's really short. It is, what was it, 90 minutes, something like that?
Yeah, 86. Something.
But the fun thing, or the funny or coincidental thing about this, the star is Aisling Frankiosi. I can't say her last name.
I think it's Aisling, is how you say it.
Oh, Aisling. Aisling, okay.
Aisling, yeah.
So just at random, I was thinking about movies, as we both do.
Really?
And I know, right? Like literally just laying in bed thinking about movies. That's my off time here. And I thought to myself, then I was thinking about The Nightingale, and I was like, wow, what a fucking great movie. And then I thought, where's that actress been? She had an incredible performance in that movie. So we look her up. I look her up. I see, oh, she was in The Voyage of the Demeter, one of your favorites from last year. And then here she is starring in this movie. Just total coincidence that I thought of her. Maybe I saw, the piece of the trailer, and it seeped into my brain or something. But it was a funny coincidence that I had just texted Mitch and said, hey, remember this lady from The Nightingale? And, do you remember, she was also in Voyage of the Demeter. So it was funny we brought her up because we hadn't talked about her since The Voyage of the Demeter, which was a couple years ago, or early last year, actually about this time. So
probably. Everyone hated it.
This movie is a stop motion-ish horror movie. It is a movie about someone who makes stop motion movies. And it's underlying about what it's, quote, really about is, trauma and the trauma we carry, family drama. But basically the story is this, how do you say it? Aisling?
I think it's Aisling, but I'll yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Our main character, Aisling, helps her mother. Her mother is a world-renowned and famous stop-motion artist, but her mom is wicked-ass old, and her hands shake and all this shit. So Aisling does it for her mom, and her mom's really shitty to her, like just pure shitty to her. Mean. You can tell that they have bad history. The mom sucks. The mom just sucks. She's not a good person. She's mean. Aisling is doing this stuff for her, and she doesn't seem grateful at all. Anyway, this happens in the first few minutes of the movie, so I'm going to mention it. Her mom dies, so now Aisling feels the pressure to finish her mom's last film. But
her mom just goes into the hospital.
Yeah, her mom goes in the hospital and is in a coma.
Has like a stroke or something.
Yeah, she might as well be dead. Thank you. And so she goes on to continue what they were working on, but she makes it her own. And it her dark thoughts start to creep in, and she starts making some really horrific shit with the stop motion pieces, I guess you would say. So let me just make sure I did that off the top of my head. So
no, that was good. I mean, the only other thing is I was gonna say is that she kind of she's working on her mother's project, but then she kind of starts doing her own thing, and she kind of is like, oh well, my mom's out of the picture right now, so maybe I'll do my own thing. And then this little girl comes into the picture, who lives in the same building as her. And she's like, well, I want to see your film. And she's like, well, she's like, that's horrible. And she's like, well, how would you do it better? And this little girl's kind of like helping her, and they're working on it together. And it becomes
she's like the little girl's like her creative consultant.
Yeah, and this little girl seems to have better ideas than she does in some ways, and it's really bothering her.
And we, the audience, are unsure of where this girl came from. What is she exactly,
where are her parents?
Right? Like that's kind of a clue, So then it goes from there, right? She starts making, her story keeps turning darker and darker. and some terrible things start to happen in her life to people she cares about and people that care about her mostly. And that's the movie. So it was directed by Robert Morgan, who I don't recognize stuff from him. He has a lot of stop motion stuff. He's obviously very talented. I don't know any of his other movies. He has like 6 or 7, or actually no, like 12 more listed on Letterboxd. Do you recognize any of those? Have you heard of them?
Well, he did one section of ABCs of Death too, but other than that, no.
Okay. So yeah, Morgan, and then as far as cast goes, it's really just Aisling Francosio. I don't know.
I looked up how to say it. So it's Aisling. You got to pronounce the G. Aisling Francosio.
Aisling Francosio. Cool.
We'll never remember that, but I had to look it up.
I appreciate it. So, this movie. I guess I'll tell you my thoughts first. So,
okay, yep.
This movie to me was like so close to being a really great movie, but it just doesn't get there, and it bummed me out, or it's unfortunate that it just doesn't get there because the stop motion stuff is so well done and creepy and gross. And even the camera work, like in the sets and her outfits, like everything here, all the ingredients are in this for a really good beef stew. But I think the script kind of lets it down because, once you get to the end, it's kind of like, oh, that's all that it was. It's like it ends up being a little forgettable for me. And yeah, man, it was so on the verge of being good. So I still like this movie and am favorable to it and will tell people to watch it. My sister is a big horror fan. I said, "Do you remember The Nightingale?" She's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that." And so she's gonna watch this. I told her to check it out. I obviously wanted you to see it. So yeah, man, the actress again is incredible, and she has to be distraught and crying and losing her mind, and she's just fucking great at it in this. She's really good. I hope I would love to see her get a huge big part.
Me too, because even the beginning parts when she's working with her mother and her mother has this overbearing presence, and even the acting she's doing in those moments, I was like, wow, like it's understated, it's quiet, she's pissed off, but she's not letting her mother know that she's pissed off, and it's and just like the little things, the relationship between them, because not a lot is like said, right?
We just get it all, which is great.
Yeah, we just get it all from like the tone and the acting of like, okay, this is a very like, at first she cuts the steak for her mom, and then she's getting more frustrated with her, so the next time they have steak, she doesn't cut it for her mom, and her mom has to eat it like a dog almost, like, but nothing is said, like her mom doesn't say like, why aren't you cutting it for me? It's just kind of like the mom's almost like, yeah, she's mad at me.
Right. Their relationship is so strange to me.
Yeah, it was
coming from a pretty healthy, like kid parent relationship.
Yeah,
I'm like, what? You guys need to have a conversation about something. Hash this shit out because
I worked with my dad. Wrong. Yeah,
and like you get a sense that the mom makes her work like from when they wake up to go to bed. And this is a grown ass woman. She has a partner. She looks to be out of college or maybe still in or just finished. And her mom is world renowned. So there's a lot of like, she has outside pressure. Like, oh, will she be as good of an artist as your mother is? She's good. Are you going to be good? And her kind of journey in the movie is, like you said earlier a minute ago, let her tell her own story. Yeah. She has always told her mother's or somebody else's story using these little stop motion figures.
Yeah.
But how would you respond to my take on the movie?
So it just worked a lot better for me.
Oh, good.
Yeah, like at first it didn't. I was like, okay, I get it. I see what Ant's saying. It's like too trippy for its own good. It, after like the mom kind of is out of the picture, it goes into like it just becomes like trippy, but then like I bought into it. And then almost right away, there's something going on. Like there
Yeah.
is, like it's all I'll say is it's an unreliable narrator kind of thing. You don't know who to
Yes.
believe or what's real.
Yeah, or what you're seeing, if you what you're seeing is really going on, and
Exactly.
it's effective in that way. Sorry to cut you
Yes.
off, but it's effective that way because she is feeling those feelings too,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
so it's cool. It's a nice parallel that the movie's plot is going that way as our
Yeah.
character is kind of spiraling down too.
Yeah.
She's starting to become distant from her. Is it her boyfriend, husband? One of the
Boyfriend.
two.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he seems like a long time boyfriend.
And his
She's growing
sister's just a
distance.
CUNT.
Yeah,
Jesus,
man.
what a
Ugh.
bitch.
Yeah, she really was. She really was, and yeah.
Yeah.
So good. I'm glad you like this movie. I would
Yeah.
tell anyone listening still to this review, if you like horror, this is totally worth checking out. Period. The stop
I'm
motion is creative as hell.
It is, and that's what I said. It's in my review. I just said it's creepy and it's incredibly made. Like,
Yep.
there is nothing like you had some issues with it and whatever, but like the movie is like so perfect. Like it's incredibly made. It's
Yep.
incredibly well done, from the stop motion to the acting to the whatever. It's gonna work for some people. It's not.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's a descent into madness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing is, like, I said the unreliable narrator, but you know, you're really gonna pick up your own meaning to everything. Like,
Yes.
in
And
my
yeah,
mind,
what
I'm like,
you've been
oh,
through in life. Yes.
exactly. I'm like, okay, so this is what it means. But then something happened, and I'm like, well, it's also trying to say this as well. And I think, like, everybody's mind could kind of pick some things out of this, and it worked for
Definitely.
me. It worked for me. Like,
Yeah, and it did it. I want to say too, it worked for me as well. I give this 3 out of 5. It's a recommend.
yeah,
It just I don't know. I felt like it needed more of a punch or a better ending or some just slightly different. But
I
like I said
don't
at the beginning,
I
yeah.
don't disagree with you. I only gave
Okay,
three and a
cool.
half. I
All right,
mean,
so we're right around the same.
yeah, I just think it's like, I enjoyed it. It does get pretty dark by the end, and I
Gets
really
real
enjoyed
dark.
that.
Me
Yeah.
too. Me
Yeah.
too, y'all. It's really
Um,
gross, really graphic.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think this was unrated because
Oh,
or
yeah?
maybe, yeah.
If not, it's
I'll
definitely
look it up
rated
and
R.
see. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's super R, bordering on. It's cool because
Yeah.
it's using stop motion, so they might be able to get away with some stuff that they would never be able to do, or
True.
the studio wouldn't be behind them doing to
The
bodies and stuff.
the
If it was a
stop
real
motion
looking person,
stuff
it's
is
really clever, and like
and
that's why I
it's
have to recommend
creepy.
it.
Yeah,
It's really creepy.
yeah,
And even the
and
sound design, the sounds they use,
yes,
because
for
you know
sure.
everyone knows what stop motion is, right? You move a character a tiny little bit, take a picture. Move them tiny little bit, take a picture.
Yeah,
It is the tedious, backbreaking, and I mean, oh, I forgot the statistic, but some of the most famous stop motion stuff famously took literal years to make, of teams working 40 hours a week for years to do
like
this stuff.
what we can reference for people who don't know is like all the
Wallace and
Wallace and
Gromit.
Gromit
Thank you.
and the Pinocchio from
Yeah.
last
Yep.
year that Del Toro did. Like I think that took 4 or 5 years or something like that.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Like Del Toro's Pinocchio.
And so this is a good thought, or a good point to make, to lead into what I was just going to say. You can name those examples, those we think of. How many
Hmm.
horror examples are there? There
Yeah,
are some.
exactly.
There's some.
Are
I think
there?
Mad God. I think
Right. Oh
Mad
yeah.
God.
Of
Right?
course.
And
That's
that's
like
why
my
I was.
fucking
You and I were texting about that one recently.
right.
But it got me thinking, like, not too many people have done stop motion horror. So I give this film points. I liked it. 3 out of 5 stars.
Okay.
Just don't go in expecting the moon, listeners. But
Yeah.
if you're into horror even a little bit, this is clever, creative, different, well acted. Just see it. Check it out on streaming.
Yeah. Um yeah, so I guess we'll jump right in. We're gonna do Drive Away Dolls. This is the Ant talked about it briefly like a week or two ago. But this is the Ethan Coen. Sorry, Ethan Coen directed movie. So obviously there was the Coen brothers, and they are off doing their own things. We had Joel Coen doing Macbeth like a few years ago.
Yep, a couple years.
So
Tragedy
this
of
is
Macbeth.
Ethan. Yeah. So this is Ethan Coen, and I'll just read the log line because this movie is all over the place. Jamie regrets her breakup with her girlfriend, while Marion needs to relax. In search of a fresh start, they embark on an unexpected road trip to Tallahassee when things go awry. When they cross paths with some criminals.
Starring.
So yeah, sorry. So thank you,
I'm just
sir.
gonna say no, because the cast is huge here. Go for it.
Yeah, so we've got Margaret Qualley, and then Marion, who I don't know how to say this name, but it's Geraldine Viswana something. Sorry,
Yeah,
Beanie.
Viswathan. Yeah, Beanie
Yeah,
Feldstein.
Beanie Feldstein, Joey Slotnick, C.J. Wilson, Coleman Domingo, Pedro Pascal, Bill Camp from The Sound of Freedom, and then Matt Damon has like
A little
a small cameo, and yeah, so essentially the movie gets its title from what must have, I don't think they have these anymore, but it was called like a drive away service where like you can show up and like to a car place, and it's like, we need this car to be in Tallahassee, so these girls showed up
and they need to get to Tallahassee, so it's like a mutual agreement. I'll take the car because you need it to get there, and we need to go, so we'll take it.
Yes, and then there's something in the back of the car that they realize later, they didn't realize was in the car, and it is something, that they that they could get in trouble for having.
Yes.
And it's really bad, and obviously these criminals want what is in the car.
And you kind of maybe have an idea, because the opening scene of this movie is I think we can say the opening scene.
Yeah,
the opening scene is Pedro Pascal being nervous in a bar, sitting there holding a briefcase to his chest, looking super nervous and scared and just freaking out. Bartender comes up and is like, "Hey, dude, nobody's coming. I got to close the place down. You got to go, So he's like, "All right, fine." He leaves. And as he leaves, the bartender follows him, takes off his apron, and follows him into an alleyway, and another car shows up, and something bad obviously happens. That's the first 2 minutes of the movie. So we then cut to, go ahead.
No, I'll just say, I think we should just spoil that. It happens in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal dies, which was, I wanted to bring it up because it's so frustrating when you're like, oh, Pedro's in it, I love him.
Exactly.
And,
yeah. And so Pedro gets murdered. Then we cut to Margaret Qualley, Beanie Feldstein, and the rest of the cast here. And so, yeah, so this. You set the movie up, so you go first. What'd you think of it? You already knew what I thought, so what was your take?
So basically, I was like, I'm gonna like this more than Anne. I have to. This is gonna be good. Basically, it opens with just lesbian sex, and these women are just having sex, and they're all horny, and every woman in this is horny as hell, and there's huge makeout sessions with women and from a soccer team in the basement, because that's that's what lesbians do.
I know,
and of course,
right?
The whole soccer team is gay, apparently. Like this whole soccer team, whatever. So Margaret Qualley is she cheated on her girlfriend, Beanie Feldstein.
Played by Beanie Feldstein, yep.
Yeah.
From who we all love.
Booksmart. Yeah.
Booksmart, yes. The bigger, heavier set girl.
She is the best part of the movie, hands down. No competition. Every time she shows up, the movie sings. She makes it funny. She makes this material that might not be that great. She makes it funny.
Yep.
And but it's just the humor isn't good.
No.
The crime action stuff feels out of place because there isn't enough of it. This movie is so tonally all over the place.
It's really tonally all over the place. That is a great point that I should have put in my written review. That's its biggest problem.
Like, Coleman Domingo doesn't belong in this movie at all. Like, he shows up and you're like, this guy is in a different movie. I love him. He's great. He's doing a good job. But
Remember
he
when we saw
shouldn't be in
him?
this.
No, remember when we saw him play a similar character in Zola? He was excellent
I haven't
in
seen
that
that.
movie.
I need to
Really
watch
good.
it.
Do you remember it though? It's one about the strippers that go down to Miami for a week. Yeah, it's from a Twitter thread.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I agree. He doesn't belong in this movie, and man, it's just it to me. It's like, damn, the Coen brothers really need to stick together.
Yeah, I know.
Joel added or maybe pushed down some of this stuff. I think they both do like work well together, because I wasn't too crazy about compliment. Thank you. I wasn't crazy about the tragedy of Macbeth just because I couldn't understand it. I'm not a Shakespeare person.
I really enjoyed that though, but that's weird that I enjoyed that. But I'll continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll say like that one wasn't widely seen as if, unlike some of their other ones like Fargo or The Big Lebowski or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. So you kind of feel similar to how I do. It just doesn't come together. The comedy, some of it's funny, but not enough, and a lot of it feels like you said the sex stuff feels like it's you're 18 and like, oh look, I can make sex jokes. Isn't this hilarious? There's a dildo in that room. It's like, they're just not that funny as sex jokes. It's you can do sex jokes and they can be funny, but there is a funny scene with a dildo and beanie, and the way the sex is portrayed is kind of farcical too. It's like, I mean, it's so hard not to compare. But I just saw Love Lies Bleeding. That has lesbian sex in it, and that feels so authentic and real. And obviously, I am not a lesbian. I actually don't know any lesbians, but watching the lesbian,
you're not a lesbian,
love on scene in Drive Away Dolls, I'm like, I just don't know if that's how a couple would act. Maybe, sometimes, but
yes, you are so right. You are like, we are two men, and it's like hard for us to be like, okay, well, is that how?
Yeah.
And this is like early 2000s. This is when it's set, I think, and maybe even earlier, which it's and so, but
the villains are buffoons. Their conversation is not funny. It's like this is just like Coen Brothers light, or if someone tried to imitate the Coen Brothers style, it sucks. I wanted this to be good, and the biggest sore thumb to me was, unfortunately, Margaret Qualley's Southern accent just burned a hole through my ear. I grew up here in the Southern United States. I still live here now. I hear that accent a lot. People I work with have a very Southern accent. And, it's hard to pull off. Accents are hard to do. If you know an actor already from previous work, it's even harder to see them, do it. So that could be influencing my opinion. But, man, as soon as she opened her mouth, I'm like, oh, that sounds not right. She is laying it on thick in this movie.
Said it sounds like she should be a character on like the Young Sheldon show. I don't know, but I've seen clips of it, and that's how they all talk.
She sounds like Dolly Parton. She sounds like she's trying to do a Dolly Parton impression, and it sucks because she's so great. I know, right? Like, she's really cute. She's adorable. She plays the lesbian great. Like, the mom jeans and the like dirty T-shirt, her playing the kind of quote butch type lesbian. I don't know if you can say that anymore, but I just did. She does it so well, and Mitch and I were texting back and forth about her performance in other movies like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and in Sanctuary as another actually like kind of sexual role that she was great in. And then even better, she was in that one. What was I telling you it was, Mitch?
Oh, I can't remember.
It was up for Best International. Stars at Noon.
I've never heard of that in my life.
And actually, that movie has lots of sex in it too. And she's naked in a lot of that movie. So it's like, and she's the daughter of
Andie MacDowell.
Thank you. She's the daughter of Andie MacDowell. So
who I like very much.
Me too.
As well.
So she's been in and around acting her whole life. She will be totally fine with this movie, with us not liking this movie. But it's a misfire. It's just
as I said earlier in the episode, she will be in the next Yorgos film, so hopefully she kind of gets a comeback from that. So
yeah, and I'm sure she'll be great. Like
yeah,
this is just she tried it. It didn't work for me. It sounds like it didn't work for you. This movie, I had it at 2.5, but I just lowered it down to 2
me
now that some
too.
time has passed. Did you really?
Yeah, I
No
literally
way.
just did on Letterboxd.
Me
I went to
too.
go see what I put it, and I'm like 2.5. That's way too high. So I dropped it down to 2. That's
That is so
funny.
funny, Mitch. That is
Um,
hilarious.
the only other thing I'll say is, what was with all that like hippie shit, like in between, like the like kaleidoscope stuff and the different
Like
colors, and
transitions.
there is a cameo there
Oh,
that was kind of funny, but I
yeah. No,
mean,
you're right. That's another thing.
why?
Editing and transitions
Ugh,
in this are like, again, like someone just got Final Cut Pro and they're playing with all the little things you can do. It's like something me and Mitch would make for our YouTube channel. Like it's
yeah,
really amateur looking.
yeah,
And it's just surprising. It's surprising. It's a short movie. It's a horny movie.
yeah,
I bet there will be a couple people though that find this and are like, "This is my shit. This is
yeah,
hilarious." A crowd that I saw it with, one person was really enjoying it, but the rest of us kind of were like, "Eh." So anyway, that's Drive Away Dolls, a
yeah.
misfire for Ethan Coen. But I hear he already has another one coming out this year later.
Oh, okay,
He had a 3-picture deal with whoever this was, Focus Features
okay.
yeah, one of them. So yeah, he'll be just fine. Ethan Coen.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be just fine. And Margaret Qualley, we cannot wait to see her in Yorgos' next movie. So yeah, it's a bummer. It's a misfire.
It
Had a good
definitely
cast,
is.
but and even like one last thing, even our two main actresses, they didn't even have that great a chemistry as
No,
friends. They're supposed to be friends with this like kind of underlying sexual tension. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But to me, they didn't look like they even hung out in real life. Like
no,
again, just
and like they're two
right, like
completely different people, and where
yeah.
it
What? Where would
goes,
they have? Where would they like? What would have brought them together
because they're
to
lesbians, I
be?
guess. So it's
I
like
guess,
they have
yeah.
to be friends, apparently. But like
Right. That, well, yeah.
where this movie goes and ends up doesn't make any sense. Doesn't feel right. Just it's so.
And I one very very last thing. It was actually hard for me to get through this, so I went and saw it on a Saturday afternoon. Was in it for about an hour. I was just so bored. Got up and left. Came back to see it. I came back like maybe 30 minutes late, so I got rewatched some of it. And I was just getting toward the end when that I guess I won't say, but when
Well, I
one of
did
the
already
bigger
say that Matt Damon's in it,
okay,
but
yeah, I was getting toward the end where Matt Damon eventually shows up, and
yeah.
I left again and I didn't finish it. So but of course I came home and I watched the ending here at home.
Hmm.
But yeah, I just wasn't into it. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's go through our last
No.
two little ones and then we'll start to wrap
Yeah.
up.
So Damsel is the other movie I watched. It is on Netflix now. It is starring Millie Bobby Brown, Ray Winstone, who he is the best part of this, Nick Robinson, Angela Bassett has like a weird, like she's in it, but like it's like I don't know why she would be in this. And then Robin Wright um, is
Okay,
in
I
this.
like Robin Wright. I like
Yeah,
this cast.
she's whatever. She's like this. The worst parts
And
of this
yeah,
movie are the beginning and like so I'll just say quickly, Millie Bobby
yeah.
Brown
Tell me
is
what it's
this.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, she's this girl. She's got a sister. Her parents are like kind of like kings and queens of this king and queen of this place. It's like actually it's her stepmother, and they really go to great lengths to let you know that it's her stepmother and not her mom.
Okay.
And
And what time period ish is this set in? Do you know?
well, it's like a fantasy land, but I would
Okay. Okay.
say like Game of Thrones, kind of like
Got it.
thousands of
Okay.
years ago.
Yep.
And so she like they're gonna go over to this new place, and marry Millie Bobby Brown's character named Elodie. They're gonna marry her to this really rich and famous family's son.
Okay.
So
Yep.
that
As they
the
did back then. Yep.
the bloodlines can be together and blah blah blah. Um, Something happens like once they get over there. They may have been tricked in some ways, and Millie Bobby Brown's character Elodie, she ends up like being put in this huge cavern with a dragon.
Like a cave?
And
Okay.
like a huge cave system. Think of the biggest cave system ever, and that's where she's been put. And she has to try to uh, outrun this dragon, try to
Okay.
whatever,
beat it, yeah, conquer it somehow.
yeah,
Get away from
or
it.
run away. But they threw her down there basically to die. So the first half an hour is fucking awful. The costumes look like they came out of like a school play.
Oh no, that sucks.
It's awful. Like the costume design is just terrible. But honestly, and the CGI is bad at first, but then like when you get to the dragon and stuff, it gets a lot better. I don't like Millie Bobby Brown. She can't carry a movie.
Oh, that's too
so
bad.
basically,
I was kind of wondering how she would do. She has a big fan base. People like her.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day.
Did you see Enola Holmes? I know that was one she was in.
I did see that, and I didn't mind it. I don't remember.
I don't
much,
like her
though.
in the Godzilla movies, but I don't blame those on her.
Yeah, no, me neither.
But okay, keep going.
Basically, the best part is like that it's a survival tale. Which I really actually ended up enjoying once it got into that. It's about this girl, and she's trying to find any way to survive. She's making her way through this cave system. She's got a dragon coming after her. It's basically just like a whole man versus nature kind of thing, which I really enjoyed. I thought there were some really interesting moments, some good CGI. The dragon is really cool looking and interesting.
So despite the cheap looking costumes, the dragon actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. And then it has like a satisfying end that it's a little bit PG-13. I think it is actually PG-13.
It is. Yep.
It really pushes that boundary, which I was surprised because I was gonna watch it with the kids, but I mean,
might be too. Yeah.
I'm sure it would have been fine, but I mean, I was a little surprised to see some blood and stuff.
Okay.
But 3 stars. There's some really cheesy, silly, roll your eye moments. But anyways, it's a 3-star fine movie.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna look up some clips for this. So just to give you and the audience some idea of what others think of it. So it's 56% with critics. So a little over half of them would recommend it. There's 120 reviews, so that's a decent amount. So that reads to me as like, okay, it's an okay movie.
Yeah. Exactly, 3 stars.
The audience score is a little higher. Audience is at 65. So yeah.
Oh, okay. That's not as high as I thought it would be, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So
cool.
Tell us
I'm
about
glad you saw that.
Yeah.
Because that was like one of the big movies of the last week or so. It was in the top 10 of Netflix. So all right, I'm gonna quickly mention Imaginary. Listeners, I'm sure have seen this trailer. That was heavily promoted. It's the little stupid cute bear that is supposedly haunted, blah, blah, blah. It's a Blumhouse PG-13 movie coming out in March. I have just a couple of notes that I wanted to mention about it. Number 1, DeWanda Wise. She is the main character here. This is her first performance. She has screen presence for days. I was watching this movie. I texted Mitch, and I'm like, this chick, because I've only seen her in Jurassic World, where she wasn't in it very much of it. The last one, Fallen Kingdom.
When she was on screen, it sung.
Yeah, right. When she was on, I was like, who is this lady? She just, her eyes or her smile or something. She just has it. She just has the quote it. She's in this movie. She has screen presence. She's awesome. The movie around her is just stupid, dumb, terrible, creepy doll movie. This is good for kids that like horror. This would be good for Mitch and I if we were 13, 14. Maybe that might be a little too old. There's really, really clunky exposition. So here are some more of the tropes that are in this movie. Kid with some kind of malady or problem. Every kid has to have diabetes, autism, something.
Asthma. It's like, oh, I can't get to my inhaler.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this movie, there's a kid that has a problem. The other kid is a rude, bossy teen who's too cool for mom.
Sorry, I just want to say quickly, not that movies can't show people with disabilities or anything, like I'm just saying a lot of horror movies use that as a crutch. I think is what we were saying. It's a frustrating stereotype that I see in a lot of horror movies. But anyways, continue.
Yes. Thank you for clearing that up. Yeah, it's not that we hate kids with disabilities.
No, we want to see more of that.
It's off.
Yeah.
There are movies that have done it very, very well. Fucking Where Evil Lurks or something. That kid is he's on the spectrum or something. Guess what? It's not commented on. We get it. It doesn't have to be explained. He doesn't need his inhaler or his retainer or whatever. It's done well, I think. So anyway, so kid with some kind of issue, check. Rude teen, that's sassy. She's like, 15, and I don't have to do what you say, Mom. It's like, we talked about this not too long ago. Why do they write kids this way? There are kids out there that are perfectly fine and happy, respectful to adults. I was at least in front of them when I was a kid. Maybe behind the door, I was doing other bad shit. But so yeah, rude teen, spooky basement with one little light that if anyone actually lived in this house would put more lights down there, because there's one at the top of the stairs and this entire basement full of stuff with papers and shit. No light down there. Mystical Spanish or other person to come in and explain what we're missing or what the prophecy is. Small secret door in the basement, kind of like the small secret door in an attic. Characters get split up when they shouldn't, when they should stick together.
Let's split up.
Yeah, right. They're like, well, will you go that way? I'll go that way. Like, no, of course you would never split up. And then just a really funny thing I noticed was during the climax of this movie, there is a fire to some degree of something, and the movie goes like this: there's a fire, the characters run out of where they were, where the fire was, and as they get out to the street, the fire department's there pulling up. Like the fire department knew that there was going to be a fire before they even get to the curb. It is already pulling up. I'm like, come on, guys, who called them? So that's it. That's Imaginary. I gave it 1 star. It's really dumb. It'll just be forgettable. Do you remember Treasure Island? That came, or Fantasy Island.
Oh, yes. I was like, Treasure Island? Like,
yeah,
what?
Sorry. Fantasy Island.
Yes, it's another, I do.
Just like, yeah, this isn't that bad, but skip it. It's bad.
Would you rather watch this or Night Swim?
Probably this. This at least has something happening. Night Swim is just awful. Dead boring and has baseball. Like, I was rethinking about Night Swim. It's like, it has baseball. Scenes of a guy playing baseball.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, this is about the creepy pool. What are you doing? And I know why it had it. But yeah, skip Imaginary. Don't bother. Just forget it happened.
I do want to say, it's like, the list you just ran down that is what it's like when you see a lot of movies. These are the things that you pick up on and get frustrated by because they're not original. So a lot of people will be like, what do you mean? Like, oh, you guys are too hard on movies. You don't like them. And it's like, yeah, because we've seen so many and we can
that might be our problem.
The flaws. But I mean, so someone could go see Imaginary and they'd be like, oh, that was scary, it was creepy. Well, and then they look at us and they're like, well, why didn't you like it? Well, it's like,
yeah, we're snobs. Yeah.
It's hard to explain that to people, and it's like, well, like they say, if you do 100,000 hours or 10,000 hours of doing something, you become a professional. Well, right. We've seen all these movies, so it's like, I don't want to say we're professionals, but anyways, I just found it interesting.
No, I'm really glad you brought that point up, because one of the things that I think about in talking about movies is, before I began talking about movies, I thought, oh, critics are all stuffy. They see too many movies. They don't like anything. And that's just not true. Yeah, we love movies, or else why would we even do this? Exactly. But you make a good point. Like, the little nitpicky things, like when it's an old time and their teeth are just, bright white. I've mentioned that to you.
Yes.
And there's one other thing that really bothers me too. I forgot already what it is. Hopefully I will forget it.
You tell me it all the time and I can't remember.
Okay, now. Good. Let's forget, and hopefully I'll never remember. But,
toothbrush.
Oh, God damn it.
You hate it when they brush their teeth without any toothpaste or water.
Or water. They're just sitting there with a toothbrush. It's like, no, you're missing 2 other ingredients. It's like, cut. Someone say something. So, but
oh my God.
To close the conversation on what you just said, I feel better with me trashing the movie Imaginary, knowing that 87 other critics, only 1 out of 4 of them would recommend it. It has a 25% Rotten Tomatoes from critics, and then even audiences have it at 54%. So I'm not alone in not liking it. But you're right. Maybe I would. Maybe my sister, as a horror fan, she would notice some of this shit. The stuff I said, creepy
for
basement.
sure.
It's like, when a kid draws a spooky drawing. Oh, that happens too in this movie. It's like they went down the list of everything that's in a horror kids movie. And I know there's only so much you can do, but you can do it in a good way and a bad way.
Like, especially when we have such great elevated horror now, and horror lovers are loving it, like Hereditary and Midsommar, and
Talk to Me,
and, and they're loving these kind of movies. Like, hopefully they can point out the flaws in something like this too. And I always say, I think criticism only helps to improve movies and make them better, because if we don't say that these are things that are awful, then they're just going to continue happening.
Yep. And the bear.
Is it CGI? Is it good?
It's okay. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine, and it's some of its movements. It's not like running around, jumping around with a knife and stuff. It's more like evil influencing it,
like Annabelle, kind of.
Yes, very much similar to Annabelle.
Okay.
So yeah, this is just a miss. I wouldn't recommend really anyone watch this. Just forget it happened. So
why don't you tell us what is on VOD now, and then I will do streaming.
Sure. Actually, no. Let me tell you what's coming to theaters, and then you can tell us.
Okay, I'll do
what's coming to VOD.
What's coming to theaters, Ant?
All right, so we have Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. They have been heavily marketing this. I have pretty low expectations. The last one was decent, I thought.
Yeah.
It was better than the 2016 one. Yeah, I really love the wave, the big wave, that beach scene where the ice is coming. It's not like, I love big waves in movies, and I think that looks filmed well. They're bringing back the whole cast, so just like Jurassic World brought the whole cast back. So we'll see. But I heard something about the budget, and now I forgot about it, so we will talk about it next week. All right, so that's Ghostbusters. I'm sure you'll be seeing that. We'll both be seeing that, and we'll have a review of that for you guys next week.
For sure.
Immaculate. I had a chance to see this on Wednesday, and I missed it, but I'll see it tomorrow or Thursday. This is a Sydney Sweeney horror, and it looks like it's going to be similar to Benedetta. Did you see Benedetta?
No.
Verhoeven? Does it sound familiar? Look it up. Pull up Benedetta.
Okay.
Verhoeven made it, and it's excellent. Speaking of lesbian, it's about it. So Immaculate is coming out with Sydney Sweeney. It looks kind of similar to Benedetta, which was just out a couple of years ago and was very good and got a lot of praise. So hopefully she can find something cool to do here with this character. I like Sydney Sweeney. Who doesn't? Problemista. I saw this movie the other night. This has Tilda Swinton in it and is about a immigrant coming to New York City who wants to be a toy designer. He stars, wrote, and directed in it. It is pretty good. Pretty good. If you come across this and you need something to see, Problemista is pretty fun. Pretty fun little movie. I'm not going to review it here just because there's not much else to say about it. But yeah, so that's coming to theaters.
You did say you thought the main guy was pretty cute.
Yeah. So, yeah, cute. Well,
I'm kidding.
What I really said was, looking at it, so looking at me going to see it, I'm like, holy shit, this kid wrote, directed, and starred in this.
And he's like a gay man.
And he's like,
is that what you're saying?
He looks like 23, or he looks pretty damn young.
Okay.
So I was just surprised that someone that young would be able to get a movie of this size in theaters where he stars, wrote, and directed. I sent a picture of him to Mitch for some reason and asked him if he thought he looked good, because I don't know. I don't think he's attractive. He's fine looking. Like, he just looks like a dude to me.
I just want to hear you. I'm just like hearing you dig your own hole. Yeah, exactly. No, I'm bi, so he sent me the picture and he's like, "Do you find this guy attractive?" I don't know, like, whatever. And I'm like, I was like, "No, I don't really." And he's like, "Okay." I just needed someone's opinion. So that was the story, but I just wanted to make fun of him.
Thank you. I'm now feeling awkward. But no, I remember now why I even asked you. Not just because I am just curious often. what the buy experience is like.
Yeah.
Just like I am curious about lots of things. But while I was looking him up on Google, his photos all looked gay. They looked very gay. He just like him stylized, gel in the hair, tight shirts, fishnets, all kinds of. It just looked gay. He just looked gay. So I'm like, huh.
Like an outdated gay man, like a stereotype you would see in like a 2000s. Yes. Like I looked at the pictures too. I completely get where you were coming from. I'm sorry if I made you feel awkward. I'm totally joking.
You didn't. And so it's not that just he looked gay that I sent it to him.
Right.
In the movie Problemista, he plays a very meek, very straight. His hair is long. He looks nothing like those photos.
So and his acting is good, or
yeah, it's really good. Okay. And so I'm like, wow, what a contrast. Good. And then I'm like, oh, I wonder if Mitch thinks this is a good looking guy. So that's Problemista. It's in theaters. I'd say it's decent. Queen of My Dreams. I don't know much about this one. Do you?
No, I don't. Okay. Nope.
That's okay. Luca is part of that Disney re-release thing that is coming to theaters. I'm going to try and see this, just like I went and saw Soul.
Have you seen Luca? Ago.
I never did.
No, I actually really enjoyed it, but I was one of few, I think.
It looks good. I know the story, and I've heard people say it's maybe a trans allegory or a coming out allegory.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's just very sweet.
Pixar's usually good. Like the
I think people have too high expectations.
I think so too. Yeah. So yeah, I'll probably see Luca. Late Night with the Devil. This is top of list. Yes. I just heard about this from the We Hate Movies podcast. So this is a horror movie starring David Dastmalchian. You know him. He has that face. He was in Ant-Man. He's the bad guy in Ant-Man. He's in a million
Oppenheimer.
Things. Oppenheimer. It's getting really good reviews. The critical community is all over this. This is very similar to the hype is very similar to a Where Evil Lurks or Talk to Me, where it's like the people who are in the know, like the critics that actually get paid to do this for a living, they're talking about it. And so this is like, I got to see it. I haven't seen the trailer. I've barely seen the poster. So I'm going to go in totally fucking blind, and we'll report back next week. And it is eventually coming to Shudder. Oh, it's coming to VOD same day. So maybe we can both see it.
Yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah.
Because it probably won't be playing anywhere near me, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a limited, but maybe we'll see. But even if it's VOD, then we'll be able to watch it. So tell us what is coming to streaming.
So what's on VOD now? Kind of what we said. Drive Away Dolls. You can rent Madam Web. You can rent the Ava DuVernay movie that you watched, Origin. You can rent that at home now as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes I Think About Dying. Did you see that one with Daisy Ridley?
I did. Yeah. Not too great.
Yeah, I didn't think you had much good to say about it.
Oh God, no, that one's even worse. Sorry, I was thinking of the Marsh King's daughter, which I remember that she's in. But Sometimes I Think About Dying is even worse. Again, it really is, man. Ridley's got to do something. Pick better projects because she hasn't been in any good movies.
No. And then Stop Motion, which we talked about earlier, you can rent right now. And then One Love, the Bob Marley movie, is available right now as well. So those are all movies to rent. They range from $14 to $20 or more. And then they're not streaming, but you can rent them. What is streaming right now? Irish Wish. It's a romantic comedy on Netflix starring Lindsay Lohan. I think it was posted obviously for what's the Leprechaun Day called?
St. Patrick's Day that we just had.
St. Patrick's Day. Sorry. I had that. We have that here, but I just.
I was going to say, forgot. I bet you did too. Yeah.
Yeah. Taylor Swift: The Eras Tour is now on Disney Plus. A documentary called Frida is now on Prime Video, which chronicles the life of the iconic Mexican artist Frida Kahlo. Kahlo, maybe. I'm going to watch that because I don't know enough about her.
Cool. Yeah.
Dream Scenario, if you haven't caught that one yet, is on Max. That's starring Nicolas Cage. It's like a comedy fantasy thing.
Yep.
Good, Trolls.
Good, interesting movie.
Yeah, very interesting. It was fun, like a good 3.5 star movie.
Yep.
Trolls Band Together is now on Paramount Plus. And then, last but not least, coming soon, This week we've got Roadhouse. I think it's going to make a theatrical release as well because I thought I saw it, but
oh, really? Good. The pushback maybe worked or whatever.
Like a small limited. What are you looking at? You got a fire in your house or something?
No, sorry, my TV. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Let's wrap it up.
No, you don't. That's fine. I was like, is something going on? Like, you got someone breaking in? Roadhouse, that'll be on Prime Video this weekend. Shirley this is interesting. Regina King has like a dramatic lead role as what?
This is in theaters. I'm gonna go see this.
Yeah. It's in theaters, but it'll be on Netflix.
I've been circling it. Like, I've been like eyeballing it. Yeah. I need to go see this. I like Regina King is like the girl you know from the scary movies, right? Yeah. But yeah. That's
she's been in comedy.
She blew up, but she was just in that movie where she worked as a manager, Support the Girls. That was a great movie.
That, and then the comedy with Sterling K. Brown, where they're priests. Like, remember that?
Oh, yes. Where they're the crooked pastor and he's gay. Yeah.
So anyway, she's got a movie. It's about a real life person named Shirley Chisholm who made a trailblazing run for the 1972 Democratic presidential nomination after becoming the first Black woman elected to Congress. It will be on Netflix March 22nd. Cool. And it is in theaters now as well. I'm gonna limited. So if you want to see that in theaters, take a look around. Anatomy of Fall will be on Hulu this weekend, the Oscar-winning movie. So you catch that. And then on March 20th, Disney Plus is streaming all episodes. This is just interesting. Of X-Men 97, revival / sequel to the 1992 animated series called X-Men the Animated Series, with the plot continuing from where the original series left off. So this is like 30 years later, a sequel to, and so that's really interesting.
I bet they're trying to get people excited and into X-Men again because they are probably planning a future X-Men movie. So,
people are excited for this. Comic book people are excited for this because apparently that original series was really good.
Yeah.
So I hope it meets a lot of nerds' expectations. Yeah. So I guess that's all we got, right?
Yep. I think we're good.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for listening.
Next week we will have reviews of Ghostbusters. At least I will have, and
Love Lies Bleeding.
Hopefully, Late Night with the Devil, Immaculate, and maybe even Shirley. I'm going to try to see all these.
We might have a lot of movies next week because I got to get out to see some of these. So
you got it. Oh yeah, Love Lies Bleeding.
Yeah, I'll go for sure.
I think you'll like it.
Yeah.
But I don't like being pushed to see a movie either. So if you don't feel like it, don't do it.
No, I should have gone when I had the chance.
I think you'll like it.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks, Ant. Good to talk to you.
Thanks, Mitch. Talk to you next week.
We'll be back soon. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Hollywood Persona podcast. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at The Hollywood Persona. Feel free to email the show at thehollywoodpersona@gmail.com and make sure to rate, share, and follow on whatever platform you're listening to our show on.
Oh, there it is.
It's the little things that help. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
And you little shithead.
I always fuck that up. I always forget
it's coming.
Staying here.
Okay, well.